Monroe Township, New Jersey, is a quiet suburban town located just 50 to 60 miles from Wall Street. Nestled in the outskirts of New York City, it is a small but thriving community with a population of just under 50,000 people. The town is notable for its significant Asian demographic, particularly Chinese Americans, who make up about 26% of the population. Monroe Township's proximity to New York City, where many of its residents work, and its peaceful, family-friendly atmosphere make it an attractive place for those seeking a quieter lifestyle, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. In 2011, within one of the town's upscale neighborhoods, lived a Chinese couple who appeared to have it all. Wang Xiaoye, a software engineer at a prominent tech company on Wall Street, and his wife, Li Tianle, a chemical researcher at a pharmaceutical company in New York, had settled into a life of comfort and success. Both were highly educated, with impressive academic backgrounds from China's top universities. Wang Xiaoye had earned his master's degree from Tsinghua University, while Li Tianle had completed her undergraduate and master's degrees at Peking University. The couple had made their home in a beautiful suburban house, enjoying the perks of a prosperous life in the United States. They had a young son, just 2 years old, and were well on their way to achieving the American dream. Their careers were thriving, their family life was stable, and they seemed to have everything in place. Yet, beneath the surface of this idyllic life, a dark and unsettling tragedy was about to unfold, a murder mystery that would shock the entire nation. In the weeks leading up to the new year of 2011, Wang Xiaoye began experiencing unusual and troubling symptoms. It started with a vague sense of fatigue that gradually worsened. He found himself growing more and more exhausted, particularly in the mornings. What had once been a normal part of his daily routine was now a constant battle against tiredness and dizziness. At first, he thought it might just be the result of stress or overwork, common among those who worked in the high-pressure environment of Wall Street. But as the days passed, his condition deteriorated. On January 14th, his symptoms became more severe. He began to experience abdominal pain, which raised further concerns. Fearing it might be the flu, Wang Xiaoye decided to visit the Princeton University Medical Center for a checkup. The doctors admitted him to the hospital, but despite being under medical care, his health continued to decline rapidly. Li Tianle, ever the devoted wife, stayed by her husband's side throughout this ordeal. She visited him daily, bringing homemade soups and trying to comfort him in the midst of his suffering. Her concern for his well-being was evident in everything she did, and Wang Xiaoye found solace in her presence, though the situation seemed to worsen with each passing day. A week into his hospitalization, Wang Xiaoye's condition had not improved. In fact, it seemed to be getting worse. The doctors at Princeton began to realize that something was not quite right. Wang Xiaoye, despite being a healthy man in his early 40s with no known medical history of chronic illness, was showing symptoms that were completely out of place. His hair was falling out in clumps, his skin was becoming thickened, and he was experiencing numbness and tingling in his extremities. These were not typical symptoms of any known disease. In fact, they seemed to point towards something far more sinister: poisoning. At first, the medical team considered the possibility of a rare and mysterious illness, but as the symptoms mounted, they began to entertain a more alarming hypothesis. Wang Xiaoye might have been poisoned. On January 24, 2011, after further testing, the hospital delivered a shocking diagnosis. Wang Xiaoye's body had been poisoned with a fatal dose of thallium. This rare and highly toxic metal, which is colorless and odorless, had been gradually accumulating in his system. Thallium is a heavy metal with a history of use in industrial applications, such as pharmaceuticals, electronics, and glass production. It is also known for its use in certain forms of chemical warfare, due to its ability to destroy vital organs and systems in the human body. Thallium poisoning is particularly insidious because it often goes undetected for a long time, as it does not exhibit any immediate symptoms and is difficult to trace. In Wang Xiaoye's case, the poison had slowly and methodically attacked his nervous system, gastrointestinal tract, and kidneys, causing irreversible damage. The poison was shutting down his body from the inside out. The toxicity of thallium takes several weeks to manifest, with the first symptoms typically being gastrointestinal discomfort. This is followed by nerve pain, hair loss, blindness, and eventually coma. Since its discovery in 1861, thallium has been involved in many poisoning cases worldwide, and by the late 20th century, it had been tightly controlled in most countries, with personal use prohibited. Cases like Wang Xiaoye's poisoning have become rare in recent years, especially in the United States, where most hospitals are not equipped to detect thallium poisoning. As a result, the diagnostic process took a considerable amount of time, and there was only one known antidote, Prussian blue, which is difficult to obtain in the United States. It was only after the combined efforts of multiple departments in New Jersey that the hospital was able to acquire a sufficient dose of Prussian blue, but by then, Wang Xiaoye was already on the brink of death. Despite the best efforts to save him, he passed away on January 26, 2011, at the age of 39. Meanwhile, the police launched an investigation into the case. As a software engineer, it seemed highly unlikely that Wang Xiaoye would have come into contact with such a large dose of thallium. The authorities quickly turned their focus to Wang Xiaoye's wife, Li Tianle, who appeared to have the means to access the metal. Li Tianle was born in Beijing in 1969. In 1990, she participated in the National College Entrance Examination and achieved top marks in the science division for Beijing's Dongcheng district, earning her a place at Peking University's chemistry department. Li Tianle was tall and talented, excelling in her studies. During her undergraduate years, she started dating a classmate named Cheng Hua. The two worked together on experiments and later both entered graduate school, continuing their relationship. Their classmates believed they would eventually marry, as they seemed inseparable. However, during a joint event organized by Peking University and Tsinghua University, Li Tianle met Wang Xiaoye, a brilliant student from Tsinghua University. The two shared a dance, and Wang Xiaoye fell for Li Tianle at first sight. Despite knowing she was already in a relationship, Wang Xiaoye passionately pursued her. Wang Xiaoye was 1 year younger than Li Tianle and was born in Jiangyin, Jiangsu Province. He completed his undergraduate studies at Nanjing Chemical Engineering Institute in just 3 years instead of the usual 4. He then successfully entered Tsinghua University for his master's degree, receiving full scholarships every semester. Wang Xiaoye was outgoing, cheerful, and skilled in socializing, which made him well-liked, and there were even rumors of him having relationships with female classmates on campus. As they were approaching graduation, Li Tianle began to consider studying abroad, but her boyfriend Cheng Hua disagreed, which led to some tension between them. When Wang Xiaoye heard about this, he saw it as a great opportunity to pursue Li Tianle, so he told her that he also had plans to study abroad and fully supported her decision. From that point on, Wang Xiaoye frequently appeared by Li Tianle's side. They attended English tutoring classes together, studied for exams together, and researched universities abroad. Wang Xiaoye continuously encouraged Li Tianle to pursue her dreams of studying abroad, telling her how open-minded America was, how enjoyable life there could be, and how academic freedom thrived in American universities. As they spent more time together, Li Tianle not only became more fascinated by the idea of studying in the United States, but also gradually developed feelings for Wang Xiaoye. One of the obstacles they faced in pursuing this dream was the high cost of studying abroad, which was a significant burden for both of their families. To address this, Wang Xiaoye took the initiative to write a letter to the president of the University of Pennsylvania. In the letter, he objectively described both his and Li Tianle's academic talents and explained that they could not even afford the plane tickets. To their surprise, the president not only sent an acceptance letter, but also included $2,000 to help cover their travel expenses. In February '98, Wang Xiaoye and Li Tianle boarded a flight to the United States, and this marked the end of Li Tianle's relationship with Cheng Hua. Upon arriving in the U.S. as international students, both Wang Xiaoye and Li Tianle were unable to work legally, which created significant financial strain. They could only afford to live in a basement apartment. To make ends meet, Wang Xiaoye worked part-time at a Chinese restaurant, earning a low wage but enough to cover their meals. He would often bring leftover food back for Li Tianle, which touched her deeply. Having gone through such difficult times together, they both dreamed of the day they could own their own home in the United States and create a warm, stable family. In the autumn of 2000, Wang Xiaoye and Li Tianle successfully graduated with their master's degrees from an Ivy League university in the United States. Shortly after, Wang Xiaoye secured a job at a computer company on Wall Street. Li Tianle was also hired by the renowned pharmaceutical company Bristol-Myers Squibb. In the second year after starting their careers, Li Tianle and Wang Xiaoye held a simple wedding, and just 3 months later, they both obtained their green cards. After 8 years of hard work, in 2008, the couple finally achieved their dream and bought a house in Monroe Township. The following year, Li Tianle gave birth to a lovely son. Two highly accomplished individuals from a foreign land who had arrived in the US with no support had built their way up to become part of America's high-tech elite, all while establishing a complete family. This was the dream life for many overseas Chinese, and even for many Native Americans. Yet, despite this seemingly perfect life, Wang Xiaoye and Li Tianle began to experience marital problems and eventually filed for divorce. 2 days after Wang Xiaoye's death, the police arrested Li Tianle. She did not admit to poisoning her husband. However, the police immediately began investigating Li Tianle's work records at the pharmaceutical company. The company's records revealed that Li Tianle had used her position to request thallium metal 4 times, with each request increasing the amount, and by the time the thallium was returned, more than 90% of it had gone missing. The police searched the couple's house and found no evidence that anyone other than Li Tianle had come into contact with the thallium. During the investigation, Li Tianle was held in jail and shared a cell with an inmate named Christine. During subsequent court hearings, Christine testified that Li Tianle had confided in her, saying that she had added poison to her husband's dinner twice, but wasn't sure if the dosage was enough. Therefore, while her husband was hospitalized, she had poisoned him 3 more times. Li Tianle's stated intention was to cause her husband both physical and psychological suffering. This revelation shocked everyone. What could have driven a wife to harbor such intense hatred for her husband? In the past, they were a loving couple who faced difficulties together, but why did their relationship deteriorate after their lives improved? Since Wang Xiaoye and Li Tianle entered the workforce, the pressure from their careers gradually seeped into their home life. Wang Xiaoye worked at a company full of talent, and the competition was intense. To keep his job, he had to stay fully focused every day, returning home exhausted. All the household chores fell on Li Tianle, but her job wasn't easy either. As a result, various small conflicts began to erupt between them. In 2006, Wang Xiaoye was scheduled for a business trip to Los Angeles on the first day of the Lunar New Year. Li Tianle was very upset, and Wang Xiaoye explained that the US doesn't celebrate Chinese New Year, and someone had to do the work. In anger, Li Tianle planned to confront Wang Xiaoye's boss in person, but Wang Xiaoye stopped her and grabbed the car keys, saying, "I've heard the company is about to lay off employees. If you go and cause trouble, it will only leave a bad impression on my boss." This led to a heated argument, and Wang Xiaoye left for his trip. Gradually, Li Tianle felt that Wang Xiaoye was becoming more and more indifferent toward her. She saw herself as the victim in this relationship. In her eyes, she had abandoned her love and followed Wang Xiaoye to the US under the pressure from her parents. However, Wang Xiaoye had turned into an unfeeling and heartless person. In May 2007, a former classmate of Li Tianle's visited the US for a business trip and told her that her ex-boyfriend, Chen Hua, had gotten married and had children shortly after she left for the US. Li Tianle was deeply upset when she heard this. When she returned home, she had a big argument with Wang Xiaoye, then called Chen Hua and scolded him, sending a message to Chen Hua's wife to insult her. These arguments revealed Li Tianle's strong-willed personality and, at times, her impulsiveness. In March 2008, the couple had saved up some money, so Wang Xiaoye proposed buying a house. Li Tianle agreed but insisted on splitting the cost evenly. Eventually, they spent $630,000 to buy a house in Monroe Township and moved in that August. After buying the house, their relationship seemed to improve, and they even planned to have a child. In January 2009, Li Tianle gave birth to their son. When the baby was just a month old, Li Tianle wanted to hire a nanny to help with childcare and return to work. However, Wang Xiaoye believed his salary was sufficient to support the family, and Li Tianle should focus on taking care of the child at home. This led to another disagreement between them. Later, Wang Xiaoye's parents came to the US to help look after their grandson, but Li Tianle didn't get along well with Wang Xiaoye's parents. There were frequent issues between the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. From April 2009 onwards, the police were called to their home for dispute mediation a total of 16 times. In 2010, Wang Xiaoye, unable to tolerate the ongoing family conflicts, proposed a divorce. In the US, many states have laws that require couples to live separately for a period of time before the court approves a divorce. Therefore, Wang Xiaoye planned to move out, but Li Tianle, who also had a job and couldn't take care of the child alone, asked Wang Xiaoye to move back to help with the child. The two of them decided to sell the house and split the proceeds, but because the financial crisis had caused house prices to fall, they agreed to live separately within the house. Both Li Tianle and Wang Xiaoye blamed each other for the breakdown of their marriage. And when it came to dividing assets and child support, neither of them was willing to make concessions. This led Li Tianle to harbor hatred toward Wang Xiaoye. According to online reports, shortly after signing the divorce agreement, Wang Xiaoye brought an American girl home to spend the night. Li Tianle, furious, tried to drive the stranger away, but Wang Xiaoye told her it was his personal matter and she had no right to interfere. After that, Wang Xiaoye continued to date several other girlfriends, all of whom he brought home, leaving the house in disarray. Li Tianle angrily said that Wang Xiaoye would eventually have to pay for his actions. These continuous conflicts and disputes turned a once-loving couple into bitter enemies. The day Wang Xiaoye went to the hospital was also the day the couple was supposed to confirm their divorce in court. After more than 2 years of investigation, on September 30th, 2013, 44-year-old Li Tianle was charged with murder and sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 62 years. According to Chinese netizens, Li Tianle was already not young when she gave birth, and during her pregnancy, she developed gestational diabetes. It took great effort to give birth to a healthy baby, who, though cute, was quite mischievous and allergic to many foods, including dairy and starchy foods. This made raising him more difficult and contributed to many family conflicts. After Li Tianle was imprisoned, her mother came from Beijing to help take care of the child. After a year or two, the child was adopted by an American family, and her mother returned to China. Both Chinese judges and foreign media believe that Li Tianle chose to poison Wang Xiaoye, partly because of the ongoing family conflicts, and also possibly for financial reasons. If Wang Xiaoye died, Li Tianle would inherit the entire house and also receive a $600,000 insurance payout. However, throughout the trial, Li Tianle never provided much explanation for her motive for murder. Reflecting on the entire case, my biggest takeaway is that maintaining a marriage and managing a family is far more challenging than simply focusing on academic or work pursuits. I also hope that those who watch this video will understand the importance of cherishing the happiness they have and not act impulsively.